Hello, everybody. My name is Chase here, and welcome back to Uncultured Swines.
Hello, everybody.
I was waiting for the hello. I didn't know if you were going to do it right away.
I didn't know that I was starting.
I said go.
Yeah, okay, but usually you start.
I did start.
Yeah, I know, after 5 seconds of silence.
All right. Welcome back to Uncultured Swines, the show where we show each other movies. Gotta love that English.
Yeah. What's the lineup today, Chase?
The lineup today, I don't think we could have picked more different movies if we tried.
That sounds like a challenge that I'm willing to take.
I'm sure we'll outdo ourselves, but for now, we have American Psycho and Sharkboy and Lavagirl.
Yeah, okay. Thing about Sharkboy and Lavagirl is that I wasn't supposed to watch that movie.
Oh yeah, because if you remember from our previous podcast, we said that we were going to be watching Old.
Yes, and unfortunately, the day before we were supposed to actually record this, I called him in a panic because it's not streaming anywhere yet.
It's just so exclusive. It's such a masterpiece that only a certain number of people are allowed to watch it.
Yeah, I think it's oh God, I don't want to talk about old. I don't want to talk about M. Night.
You lucked out this time, M. Night. We're not going to be shitting on you this
I
podcast.
hate you, M. Night.
We hate you, but this is not your time to shine. In the future, whenever it comes out on DVD or whatever,
Yeah,
then we'll get to you. Don't worry. So instead, we have Sharkboy and Lava Girl.
absolutely.
Oh
Okay.
boy. So wait, what did you want to talk about before?
Okay, so guys, I had a really weird dream last night. So weird that I wrote it down and made a TikTok about it, but put it in my drafts. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so in this dream, I was friends with Lil Nas X, correct? And me and Lil Nas X signed up to be like, we were cast in a movie where we had to do like a series of like challenges, and the last one standing um got like a bunch of money, right? So it was like me, I think you were in it, Chase, but I don't remember if you said anything. I think you were in it for like a brief moment.
Was I like in on the show or
Yeah, you were like on the show. So the show, it was like it wasn't a show, it was a movie. And basically we were both cast in the movie, and for some reason they had like they handed me and Lil Nas X a bowl of spaghetti, right? And they were like, "There's needles in this, like sewing needles, and you need to figure out how you can eat all of these sewing needles and the spaghetti, and then you
so you
win."
needed to wait, so you needed to eat the sewing needles along with the spaghetti
Yes, I had to eat
without
it
dying?
like they were, yeah, like they were like hidden. But the thing is that we were on the set of a movie, so we didn't actually have to eat sewing needles, but they actually put the sewing needles in there. So as they handed it to us, I was like, wait a second, how am I supposed to eat this without like dying? So I was thinking about it, and in my head I was like, well, I guess I could swallow them like pills. And here goes
Sewing
little Nas.
needles like pills?
Yeah. I was just trying to figure out a way to like figure it out. I couldn't. So I had to go to the producer and I was like, "Hey, I don't think I can do this." And they were like, "Oh, fine, then we have to kill you off in the movie." So they put me in like a standing bathtub, and they pretended to stab me in the head with scissors. And then Lil Nas X won the whole thing. He won like $60,000, even though he really doesn't need the money. Uh,
Wait, so it was a movie but it was also a game show?
yeah, it was weird. Yeah, basically.
So confused.
Yeah, and imagine how I felt. I also told them that I couldn't. I told them I couldn't eat the needles because I was Jewish. I
That
told
like a
them-
religious thing?
I went to the producers and I was like, it's kind of like a Jewish thing. I just can't do it. Like the, I think that makes it too. And
It's a Jewish thing.
that was That was why I couldn't eat the needles. Not because I would die, but because I was Jewish. And I'm not Jewish, by the way. And last thing I did was I took Lil Nas X into the woods with me, and he was wearing like his Met Gala outfit, like all gold. And we like
Yeah.
stepped in mud, and he was like, "Oh no, I'm covered in mud. How can I go to the Met Gala now?" And then for some reason, I told him that I was Puerto Rican, and I'm not Puerto Rican. And then I woke up. That was my dream last night. Have you ever had a Jewish Puerto Rican woman tell you that you couldn't eat needles because she was Jewish?
No, I have not. I can definitely say that for sure. Yeah, so I completely forgot about what story I was gonna tell, so I guess fuck that. We're just gonna get into it.
All right.
I'll tell it later if it comes to me.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm guessing we're doing American Psycho first.
Is that what you'd like to do?
Yeah, because we usually do the good movie and then we do the bad movie.
Not when we talked about the lie. Actually, yes, we did. We started with Alien. Sorry, I was trying to be an
Yeah,
asshole, but okay.
yeah.
Yes,
It was
American
so.
Psycho.
So yeah, this is my first time ever seeing American Psycho. I've heard so much about it for so long. I've always heard people talk about how incredible it is and all the things that are good about it, but I've never actually sat my ass down and watched it until last week. And I will say, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. I honestly liked it a lot more than I thought I was going to.
Oh yeah, it's a great movie.
Because I'm not really usually into these like big like character study movies that are like just focusing on one character and like the drama of it. But honestly, this was good. It's like if the movie Joker was 100 times more interesting.
I remember you said that after we were done watching it. Would you like to explain the plot of American Psycho? Because a lot of people have
So
trouble doing that.
really, so American Psycho is about this guy named Patrick Bateman who is like he works on Wall Street, right?
Yeah, he's a yuppie, a young urban professional in the 1980s.
He's this like big rich businessman,
Hmm.
but unlike everybody else, he kills people for fun. He's a
Yeah,
huge serial killer. He claims that he's killed over 40 people, but I don't know if that's actually true because of the ending of the movie, which gets a little confusing.
right. All right.
So that's really as much as I can say about the plot. It gets very insane, but like I feel like the finer details will come when we get into like actually discussing like these questions and stuff.
Yes. All right. Do you have any like thoughts about the movie that like just go without like a question? Like, do you have anything that you wanted to like say about the movie?
Well, this very much goes without saying, but Christian Bale's performance is incredible. He's the best
Absolutely.
part about the movie.
Absolutely.
I remember you were telling me about how nobody thought he was good while they were making it, and I'm like, how? How the
Yeah,
fuck?
no, his co-stars really didn't like how he portrayed Patrick Bateman. They were like, I think because Christian Bale, American Psycho at its core is a comedy. It's a black comedy, like in the same vein
Yeah,
as like Us, like Jordan Peele, black
yeah, because it's a
comedy.
funny movie.
Yeah, like black comedy as in like it's like dark comedy. It's funny, but the reason why they didn't like the way that Christian was like portraying him is because they thought it was like serious. They took it really seriously.
Yeah, because he brings a lot of fun to this role that I feel like
Yeah.
other people wouldn't have brought, and I think that's why I enjoyed this movie more than I thought I was going to, because I thought it was going to be so serious.
No. No.
No, it was so entertaining. I
Yeah.
love the business card scene, probably my favorite scene in the movie.
Like it's like the best scene in the movie.
It's just like it's funny, but it's also just incredibly interesting. Gives so much insight into these people's lives.
Absolutely. Okay, so my first question about this, if I may,
Hmm.
um, w- they touch upon a lot of like groups of people that they sort of poke fun at. What do you think like the whole point of that movie was, like in terms of like who they made fun of and why they made fun of them?
So like one of the most interesting parts of the movie is right at the beginning
Yeah.
is when like it was like your introduction to Patrick Bateman and he's like this guy like makes like an anti-Semitic joke and he's like, "Hey, why don't you calm it down with the anti-Semitism?" And like right from that moment, I knew exactly what they're doing. Like I knew the fact that he's probably the most bigoted person in that room, yet he's the one who will defend it because he just says things because they sound good, not because he actually believes it.
If you watched American Psycho, could you think of any real person that like is kind of like that?
Oh, you mean someone like Patrick Bateman?
Yeah, someone who they're like making fun, like that lifestyle. Could you think of anybody who fits into that lifestyle?
It's definitely Donald Trump.
Absolutely. He says Donald Trump's name like 6 times in the movie.
Like honestly, like I don't actually remember them mentioning Donald Trump, but like obviously you can tell that like
Yeah.
and it's not like it's probably not just it's mostly him, but you can also tell it's just making fun of like business people in general because they're just like so rich and so high up there that they can just kind of get away with most things that most regular people can't.
Yeah, no, definitely. No, that it was really, they really did hone in on Trump. Trump in the 1980s was referred to as the ultimate yuppie, which is the lifestyle that they were kind of like satirizing in American Psycho. So they were definitely poking fun at Donald Trump, especially being in New York during the 80s and, having that sort of profession. Um, a lot of people say too, um, that it is, get this, a feminist movie. Do you think that American Psycho could be considered a feminist movie?
Like in what way?
So American Psycho, they've really touched upon male vanity, male behavior, the way that they make Patrick not a character that you root for. Um, it kind of basically makes fun of the way that men kind of see themselves as above other people and like that women are like disposable and how many what prostitutes did he kill? Like
Kill like three. I
three.
kind of get what you mean.
Yeah.
It's just like portraying how like because he treats all the women in this movie like absolute garbage, and the movie doesn't hide that. It's
Yeah.
not trying to make you agree with him. It's showing you how awful he is towards these people.
Oh, absolutely. All right. Here's a big question, of course. What do
Hmm.
you think happens at the end? What do you think actually happened?
Okay, so I kind of like the theory that you proposed, whereas everything that happened, well, I guess it kind of doesn't really make sense, but like I like the theory that his lawyer didn't have lunch with Paul Allen. It was just somebody who looked like him because everybody looks the fucking same. I
Yeah.
think that's funny, but it also doesn't make sense at how the apartment with all the dead bodies was like cleaned out. I don't understand that.
Yeah, my theory was basically that, um, to put it in a more basic sense, is that Patrick Bateman did kill somebody, but there's two parts to this. So either Patrick Bateman did kill somebody, but it wasn't Paul Allen, because you can see that when they're called by the different names, like when Patrick was called Marcus and everybody, they just went with it. So you really have no like you have no way of knowing if like Marcus is actually Patrick and Patrick is actually Marcus or Paul Allen is actually Paul Allen because whenever they're called by the wrong name, they just go with it because it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's something I've noticed, and I thought that was kind of confusing because at the beginning, because it's they call each other by the wrong names all the time,
Yeah, because
and they just
it's
go with it.
yeah, it's basically just like a commentary of like, oh, well, they're all basically the same person. It doesn't really matter. You can use them interchangeably.
Yeah, which I thought is great.
Yeah, the theory was basically just like he killed somebody, but it wasn't Paul Allen. The guy was just going with it because that's just what they do. Or that he did kill Paul Allen, and the lawyer was like, "Oh yeah, well I had lunch with him in London a couple weeks ago." It just could have been another man who looked like Paul Allen or
And just
another
went along with
businessman,
it.
and he just went along with it. And of course, the other theory is that everything he did do was real, but not in the way that he presented it.
Because Patrick Bateman is a very unreliable narrator.
He is, and if you read the book, it's even worse. There's a part in the book that like really kind of it kind of highlights that. So during the Christmas party, you know how that you go to Evelyn's Christmas party and that's where he meets Paul Allen and like he takes him out to Texarkana.
Yeah.
What happens in the book is that Patrick Bateman, before he takes Paul Allen to Texarkana, he sees his girlfriend, his fiance Evelyn, right? And Evelyn's like,
Hmm.
"Oh, Patrick, what'd you get me for my birthday?" And Patrick like was eating something, and he had like a stray spaghetti noodle on his tux. So he took the noodle off his tux and handed it to Evelyn. And Patrick says that Evelyn was so happy about it that she cried, which obviously did not happen.
Yeah. That
Um,
just
you
doesn't
know,
make any sense.
and also, the scene where he shoots a cop car and it like explodes.
Yeah, I was very confused about that. I was like, how did that explode?
Yeah, and so was he. Did you see the way he looked at his
Yeah,
gun?
he was like, he was like, oh my god, did I just do that? How
Yeah.
did I do that?
So some people think that like he did kill people, but it wasn't in like the way that he thought he did, and but he didn't like narrate it correctly because he thought it was like this one big swoop of justice, and really he probably just like killed him and then took him.
So he probably did kill those like prostitutes, but it was just somewhere else.
It might have been somewhere else, or he might have just done it in a way that just wasn't as like fantastic as he says it
Yeah,
was.
he probably was playing it up in his mind to make himself look better.
The, the book is awful. Let me tell you that. The book is awful when it comes to how he describes the things that he's done. Like, it's in grave detail, and it does not shy away from it. Um, in the book, he actually does kill somebody with a nail gun.
Yeah, he stops himself in the movie.
Yeah, he stops himself in the movie, but in the book, he actually does kill that woman with a nail gun. And then he did the do with her body and nailed her to a
Oh,
cross.
okay. Well, I'm kind of glad that was left out of the movie. I didn't really want to see that.
I had to read it.
Like, we already have like the like 2 minute sex scene with fucking Phil Collins in the background.
I tell you, that had to be cut down because it was actually longer when they filmed it.
Show me the extended scene. Come on,
They
hand
had
it over.
basically the thing that stopped them from getting an NC-17 rating was just 1 minute off the sex scene.
That's it.
Yes,
You're
they just
telling
had
me
to
that
cut
that
it
was
down,
that
and then they were
easy
like, "Yeah, it was that easy."
compared to something like Scream, who had to like massively cut down like most of their scenes just to get an R rating.
American Psycho. They were just like, listen, it's whatever. You need to cut that 3 minute sex scene, and they were like, all right, I'll just take a minute off.
None of the blood, none of the gore.
Oh my god,
Jesus.
it's a great movie. Let's see. Oh, one last question. This is just for me.
Okay.
Do you think Patrick Bateman is gay?
He seems very homophobic.
Do you think that's internalized, however? Internalized
Maybe.
homophobia? Would you like to hear my theory?
Hold on, before you say that, I like to say that like the scene where the guy like he's in the bathroom and the guy is like confessing his love for him. He's like
Yeah.
so disgusted at the fact that he's gay that he can't even kill him.
He washed his gloves in the sink.
Like, jeez.
But
Like,
I had a theory about Patrick Bateman actually being gay because the only killing or attempted killing that he ever had any sort of reaction to was with Louis Carruthers, which is the gay guy.
yeah.
And I think it's because Patrick Bateman saw a successful gay man and he was so disgusted with the fact that he couldn't be that that
Interesting.
yeah, it goes a little deeper than that, but I just think because that's the only killing he ever had a reaction to, I think it was more than just he was gay. Like I don't think he's that disgusted with Lewis being gay. I think he's disgusted with the fact that he sees himself
It's
or he sees
interesting. I think it's possible.
I think he sees what he wants to be. Let me tell you, he seems a lot more interested in what his guy friends are doing than his literal fiance, who is Reese Witherspoon, by the way.
Was that Reese Witherspoon?
Yeah.
Really? I didn't even notice.
Um, there's some big names: Reese Witherspoon, Jared Leto, Christian Bale, Willem Dafoe.
Something I heard, like, because I've been seeing American Psycho a lot on my TikTok. And I
Yeah.
think I heard this fact before I actually saw the movie, but it's really interesting now that I've actually seen it, is that they did like three different takes with Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
With like one where he knows it was him, one where he suspects him, and one where he's totally oblivious and like cut them together to keep you guessing, which I think is brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. Mary Herron is such a great director. So one thing that remember the confession scene where Patrick's like on the floor and he's like, I killed like 60 people and
Yeah.
this and that. They had him do that like 15 times because each time he just kept getting more unhinged. And Mary was like, yeah, can you just do that over, that whole scene over again?
It makes sense why you just keep getting annoyed that you have to do it, so you just do it with more agency. Can I talk about the fact that Christian Bale can sweat on command?
Sweat on
How is that
command.
possible?
Um, Mary Herron called him Robo Actor because he could sweat on command.
I don't
Like,
understand how that's possible.
let me look it up.
I will
Christian.
say one thing I love about this movie is about the ending is the fact that throughout the entire movie, he's so good at manipulating everything and everything around him. Every situation he's in, he's just like constantly manipulating everything. And towards the end of the movie, when everything is starting to go wrong, you can just really see the fact that his mask is slipping and that he just can't do it anymore.
Yeah. All right. Mary Herron called Christian Bale Robo Actor on the set because of a very special skill he has. During the filming of the famous business card exchange sequence, Bale's co-stars noted that he was able to break out in perspiration at the exact same time, take after take.
Jeez. I don't understand how that's possible.
My favorite fact about it was it's in the Hip to Be Square scene. So number one, they didn't tell Jared Leto what was gonna happen.
Oh, I
Like,
think I heard this.
yeah, so when they were filming, they were just like, all right, Christian, go ahead. But they pulled Christian aside and was like, Christian, just go crazy. Like when you lift up that axe, just go towards him like as fast, like as crazy as you can. They didn't tell Jared this. They thought it was
Yeah.
gonna be like they didn't know he was gonna scream at him. So when Jared turned around and saw Christian, like that reaction that you see on screen was actually just like Jared Leto being scared shitless because here's Christian Bale with an axe coming at him at full speed and screaming. Also the blood on the side of the face, that was an accident, but it looked awesome.
Oh yeah, totally.
Oh, it was so good. And it really fit in because it's like, it's like duality.
You know, I think the one of the things that really helps Patrick Bateman be such a successful killer is the fact that nobody turns around in this movie.
Yeah.
Like seriously, every single time he's about to kill someone and he's fully talking to them, but none of them have the idea to actually look at him.
Yeah, but you also have to remember he is the narrator of his own story.
That is true. That might not be what happened. That's just how he imagines it. But I just think it's funny because like in so many scenes where he's just having a full conversation with this girl with a nail gun to her head.
Yeah, really. No peripheral vision on these people. Oh, I love the scenes. I My favorite genre of like horror is like innocent at first, and with American Psycho, I really think that they do that a lot. So like when Patrick's talking and like taking out like yogurt, you just see a severed head in the fridge for no reason, and they never touch on it again.
Yeah.
So like I love that sort of horror where it's like it's normal, and then slowly it just becomes like unhinged and you can't do anything about it. If you've ever seen unedited footage of a bear or Too Many Cooks, that's great examples. Ugh, I love unedited footage of a bear. I've done like 3 projects on that.
I love the way the movie like eases into the fact of what the movie actually is. Like if you started watching this movie with no idea what it was about, you'd probably just think it was just a movie about just like businessmen.
Seriously, if you watched American Psycho for the first time without really, if when I first watched American Psycho, I thought it was just about a businessman who kills at night. That's what I thought it was. I just thought it was like, oh, he's cool, and then he's not, and then he hides it, and then he never gets caught. But really, it's like it's more like a businessman slowly loses his mind and takes you with him.
One of the things I like about Patrick Bateman's character is the fact that usually a character like this doesn't give a shit about anything. He just acts like he does, but Patrick Bateman does care about stuff. Like in the business card scene, like he
Yes.
legitimately cares at the fact that they like the other card more than his.
He really is, and it's a great example of how these of how businessmen or men in general really do care about the way that other people feel, but won't like to the point where you're like sweating over a business card.
Yeah, like it's just so meaningless and so like doesn't matter, but in their world,
Absolutely.
it's everything.
Absolutely. I love this movie for so many reasons. I also love so one of the things that I have a theory on is that it all happened in his head because when he says things that are really concerning, it's either you see his reflection say it, he's blocking his face when he says it, or he's in the dark. Those are the
Interesting.
times where he says things like, well, I'm into murders and executions, or I have the need to take place in homicidal like activities on a huge scale. You're either looking at his reflection or he's hiding his face.
I love the fact that like one of the things he legitimately cares about is music.
Oh, that's like the one thing, yeah, that he actually has interest in.
Yeah, like all his monologues are about music.
Yeah, he really does have interest in music, but a lot of people say that he just like reads what he just like reads stuff in the newspaper or like in the magazines and then he just regurgitates it.
That's
But
possible,
he
but I honestly do think that he like
yeah,
listens to music and loves it.
absolutely. Remember when he was literally ignoring his whole ass fiance because Robert Palmer was on his Walkman?
Literally, he got like two lesbians on his couch, like making out, and he's like still talking about music.
He's still talking about Whitney Houston.
Seriously, it's so great. I love it.
It's a really good movie. It's amazing. I used to watch this movie like back to back to back. So like I'd be like, oh yeah, I can just watch it for a second time in a row. It's cool.
It's funny because I usually don't watch movies like this again. I guarantee you by like I'm going to watch this movie at least a few more times. Like it was really good. Like give it like a month or two, I might call this one of my favorite movies of all time.
So cool that I did that.
Yeah, I really liked it. Like I want to show other people. Like this is one of those movies you want to
Right?
show people.
See, I wanted to show one of my old friends beforehand, and he was so uninterested, and I was so hurt.
I get it. That sucks.
Literally, I was like, "Oh my God, you're going to love this movie. It's such a mind fuck. It's amazing." And then he was like, "Oh, this is boring. Why are they just talking about stuff?" And I was like, "Watch it. Listen to them. Is this not
It,
the stupidest thing you've seen in your whole life?"
like it's great. I
Like,
love all the talking scenes.
exactly. But like, when you boil it down to what they're talking about, what about the massacres in Sri Lanka? Doesn't that affect us? Uh, all right. I think that's all I have to say about American Psycho. Final
Mhm.
thoughts, Chase?
Real quick, I want to talk
Yes.
about American Psycho 2.
Do you want to make me mad?
So like, okay, so I haven't actually seen the whole movie of American Psycho 2, but I got like the gist. I like know what it's about, and I've seen like scenes from it, and I can just tell that just like wow, this is just like
It's
this
not.
just
It
goes
has
against
not.
everything that the first one was about.
Yeah, so American Psycho 2 wasn't supposed to be American Psycho 2. I know that you know this, but a lot of
I
people
know
who are
that.
listening might not. American Psycho 2 was supposed to be the girl who never dies, or the girl who wouldn't die. And that's fine, but they saw that American Psycho was quickly becoming like a cult classic, like a cult favorite. So they were like, how about we just say that it's American Psycho?
With like they didn't they just like plaster the scene where she kills Patrick Bateman at the beginning just so they could say it's American Psycho 2?
Yeah, they basically that was it. They were just like Patrick Bateman, like the best serial killer. Number one, he wasn't a serial killer, really. He would just killed people. Like he wasn't the best. He wasn't in the movie as the best serial killer. He
Yeah.
and well, that really takes away all the ambiguity because now we know that he did it.
And it's also like the fact that it's just like the best serial killer. Like that just sounds like, what is he, a bounty hunter?
He wasn't even like really a serial killer. He just killed when he felt like it. He didn't really have like an agenda. He killed Paul Allen because he was jealous, and all the other women, he was just like, well, you're here and I'm bored.
Yeah. I see you as lesser than me, so I'm going to kill you.
Yeah. And oh, the best thing about American Psycho is that that really just it speaks volumes about the upper class because you literally have somebody who represents the upper class, these young urban professionals killing the lower class people, people who are affected by their things. It's not subtle with it at all.
Oh yeah,
Like
absolutely.
it's a perfect example of like Patrick Patrick basically targets homeless people, prostitutes, women. And the
Yeah,
only
all
person that he's ever
minorities.
the only person that he's killed outside of that was just because he was jealous. So it really is just like a big slap in the face to people who are upper class, like, hey, this is what you're doing to people. Like, you are telling them to go get jobs and go do this and go do that, and you're just killing them for no reason.
Yeah, and then you have an American Psycho too, and it's just like, oh, she's a college student.
American
She
Psycho
kills
2.
people.
Oh, God. All
All
right.
right, so now that we've talked about the good movie, of course, as in tradition, now we shall move over to the not so good movie.
I'm angry.
You're angry?
Yes.
I think this movie's
Oh,
hilarious.
I think when you watch it, you realize how boring it is.
Oh, absolutely. There's a reason why I haven't actually sat through the entire movie
It is
in
so
a good over
boring.
10 years.
So boring. Okay,
Yeah.
so if you guys are new now, I'm an animation student. I've taken a lot of graphic design and 3D animation classes before. So I've taken like visual effects and 3D effects and animation production. And oh my God, the more that you take those classes, or even just read an article about it, the more you realize how shitty Sharkboy and Lavagirl is with their visual effects.
Oh, absolutely. The movie looks like absolute shit.
Okay, so the first thing I wrote in the book, I mean, I'll get back to the animation later. The first thing I wrote in my notes was Sharkboy is his legal name? Because when they talked about how Sharkboy like came to be, the kid Max is like, then Sharkboy did this and Sharkboy did that,
I thought
and
his
his
like dad just called him Shark Boy as a nickname.
and his dad was like Sharkboy. Right? Yeah, you called it Sharkboy, but like my grandmother calls me Boobaloo, right? But she wouldn't say that if I was drifting away from her. Like she probably called me by my name, correct?
Yeah, probably. I love the fact that like when a lava girl walks in, he's like,
Lava
lava
Girl.
girl. Like, does she not have a name?
Yeah, I think I don't know why they gave Lava Girl identity crisis issues.
It's an odd choice.
They literally just gave her identity crisis issues. Her whole movie is like trying to find out who she is, but like Max spent a lot of time creating her. I'm sure that he put in that like unless he just hates women.
You don't get a
That's why
name.
but like okay, so I also said um they CGI'd The Rock that Shark Boy was standing on.
Oh yeah, most of this movie is CGI.
They just animated the rock. Okay, anyway, um, where did Shark Boy get the buzz cut? If he
Uh,
was if he was stranded with only sharks, where did he get that sick buzz cut?
oh yeah, his like hair would have grown.
His hair was long when he was a kid.
Yeah, and then he gets like the Taylor
So
Lautner cut.
where did he get the buzz cut?
I
Uh,
don't know.
Also, the water looks chewy.
Chewy.
I if you can, I'd like you to put in like a small clip, not even a clip, just like a picture of the water from Sharkboy and Lavagirl. If you want to just look it up real quick, it looks gummy. It looks like Jello. And listen, I'll give it to them. Water is very hard to animate. Why didn't they just make it in that like the Titanic pool? Like you had enough money to hire all these animators.
Yeah, like this movie had a
Cut
decent budget.
cut some of these animators. Yeah, cut some of these animators, get like the Titanic pool and just like put like green screen like the sharks on a stick, and that way they can just animate the sharks so that the water doesn't look gummy and gross.
The thing about this movie is that like Robert Rodriguez is like he loves to make like movies that look cheap but kind of stylize it. Like the people forget like the first Spy Kids looks like absolute shit, but it's stylized so it's not really as noticeable. Like in this movie, it just looks like shit, and you're just like, I guess it just looks like shit.
Absolutely, and the worst part about it is that the green screen is awful. If you're gonna use green screen in all of your movies, maybe make sure that you can, I don't know, get the green out of all your actors' hair before you start. If your whole like life is based off making green screen movies, maybe, just maybe, make sure that you can't see the green screen outlining all of your actors. And maybe make sure that your actors have shadows. Okay? Your actors have shadows. In this movie, they're just like superimposed in, and you don't see any shadows. There's like the lighting is terrible. The lighting in the planet comes from one side of their face, but the actual lighting on the actors is coming from another. You can see the light source in the back of like the planet, but it never comes from there. The light on their faces is like yellow, but all the planet is purple. It just it makes no sense. This the effects are just piss poor.
You know, I realize that in your like torrent about the effects, we haven't talked about what the movie's about.
Oh,
Want to explain the plot?
yes. Sorry. Max is a young boy in school who is very imaginative. So when he comes back from summer vacation, he tells all of his friends about Shark Boy and Lava Girl. Shark Boy and Lava Girl are two characters that he kind of made up on his own. Like, he made them up, but he also didn't. Like, they exist, but they don't.
The movie never
Everybody else,
really explains it.
they don't really explain it very well. Um, so basically, they're just like two like superheroes who need Max back in the dream world on planet Drool because something's slowly draining the life force out of planet Drool. So they have to like travel through different planets in Max's dream world and defeat Doctor Mr. Electric.
Yeah, who's played by George Lopez.
Yeah, it was George Lopez. So, but the thing is that it's so convoluted because the idea that Max is in his own dream world, but he also made up these characters, but they also exist. It's not explained well.
Like it's so weird because the beginning, it's the fact that if you just saw the beginning, you'd just be like, "Oh, I guess they were just real and nobody believes him." But then they go to
Yeah.
the dream planet where everything is affected by Max's dreams. So did he dream them up and then the planet like conjured, or does everybody have a dream planet, or
Or is he still in his or is he still like asleep? Is like he telling like a story? It's never really explained very well.
because at the end he wakes up back in the class with the tornado, and I was like, "Oh, he just dreamed all that."
Yeah.
But then they show up again.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I'm so confused.
It really isn't explained well. Another thing that I saw in the movie that wasn't explained well was because I don't really understand is in the dream world there are other kids in Max's dream world on that roller coaster. Are they made up?
Yeah, are they just like, if they are, then why bother saving them?
Yeah. Are they
I'm
real? Like are they characters that he also made up? It's weird. Um I have another thing. I think Mr. Electricidad needs to be fired, like immediately. Linus's abuse against Max is physical.
Oh yeah, and he just doesn't do anything about it. He's like, Linus, give Max his journal.
It's not even that, like Max is being like physically abused like in front of the teacher, and the teacher's was like, how about I put him even closer to the kid that's abusing him so that he can abuse him even more in closer quarters? Like that's dangerous.
I love the scene where George Lopez gets up and he's like, I know everything and you know nothing. He just like
Seriously,
starts going off the rails. It's so funny.
George Lopez, that teacher literally is like, I don't know what it is with Disney movies and making teachers like the worst people on earth, but
Yeah, Disney
like,
has something against teachers.
but like the teacher was literally just like, don't be creative. Nobody ever be creative ever or dream.
Stop all that dreaming.
Do you think like Max is like a schizophrenic?
It's honestly best theory I've heard so far. Makes
Oh
the
my
most
god,
sense.
it's absolutely like unbelievable. Okay, there's I have some other nitpicky things about the movie that are just stupid.
Okay.
Number one, why was Max in trouble for getting bullied?
I don't know. That's how these Disney Channel movies go.
Max was literally like, getting his ass beat, and Mr. Electric is like, "Hey, Linus, apologize. Max, you're in trouble now." Um, okay, so number two, Linus has rings on his hand.
Does he?
He's like in fifth grade, and he has like rings on his fingers, like all the way up his knuckles.
This movie just like leans into how like cartoonishly evil Disney makes their bullies, and I love it.
Yeah.
Linus is so cartoonishly, even before he becomes Minus at like the end of the movie, like when he's just like a regular kid, he's just as evil. And honestly,
Yeah,
Linus is the best part of this movie
Linus
because
is the best part of the movie, but the thing is that he started at 100 and he had nowhere else to go.
as soon as he turns good, he just like becomes shit.
Yeah.
But before that, he's like a Spider-Man villain.
Yeah.
He's like Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin.
Yeah.
I love it so
Um,
much.
uh, so remember in the first scene where like Max is like, Sharkboy and Lavagirl, we're here. Look at this one's got shark bites in the cookie, and this one's singed.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that Sharkboy and Lavagirl walk into Max's house, eat one bite each of a cookie, go upstairs, and then run?
I don't know. This movie doesn't make any sense. Want to know something else kind of nitpicky, which I think is funny?
Go ahead.
Why does Max have a bunk bed if he's the only child?
Like Sharkboy and Lavagirl were actually like his siblings that like died, and so now he just sees them everywhere.
Why are the theories about this movie infinitely more interesting than the actual movie?
The theory, that's my theory.
Yeah, I know, but like because we've had a lot of theories so far.
Yeah, he's schizophrenic because he actually had siblings that like died. I
I
this
also love
movie
the
is
subplot about the divorced parents. It's so unnecessary.
Chase, do you want to tell them about the video you showed me yesterday?
So okay, so I should explain this. Um a lot of people don't know this, but this is not my first channel that I've had. I used to have a different channel called Chase624 when I was like even younger. And I had this video where I was giving a room tour like anybody cared. And there's this random part of it which I could not stop laughing because I randomly dropped the fact that my parents are divorced.
That right there is my Wii. I haven't really set it up yet, because I'm gonna do a different one, like, because I have two houses. My parents are divorced, so I have two houses. And the bed, my little Xbox controller.
Like he was like Sharkboy and Lavagirl. My parents are divorced. Anyway, Planet Drool. Oh
Anyway,
my
my parents are
god.
divorced and they're never getting back together. Anyway, Tobor.
Oh my god. It's an amazing video. Anyway, no, Sharkboy and Lavagirl hides behind its cheapness by saying that that's his style, but really it was just like he didn't want to put the work into it because he knew that the story was shit. So he was like, my kid made it, and it's just my style.
Yeah, really. I love the fact that before the movie even starts, it's like, this was based on the dreams of my son. Just like, I'm just going to hide behind that when everybody calls my movie shitty.
So sometimes artists will do this thing where you'll ask like they'll ask you to critique something
Yeah.
and they'll be like, here, can you critique this painting? And you're like, well, the eye looks like it's a little bit lopsided, and they'll be like, no, 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 that's my style. It's fine. It's fine. Because they don't want to hear that something's wrong with it. They just wanted you to say it was like really good and then just leave.
Yeah. They either want that or they want you to critique something they already know isn't that good just so they can go, oh, yeah, I'm going to fix that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just because he's like, oh, well, it's bad because that's just my style. Because then people can't say that it's bad because it was on purpose. I don't think I have much to say about Sharkboy and Lava Girl except that we've been feeding our children the most like stupidest things because we think that they're kids and they're stupid. And Sharkboy and Lava Girl is just a great example of that because there is one moral to Sharkboy and Lava Girl about like, oh well, if you dream hard enough, it'll always come true. Whatever.
You got to dream really hard and your parents will get back together.
Like it's a stupid moral. There's really no moral to it. It really doesn't teach our kids anything. They put little effort into it and they just hope that everything would be fine. And it wasn't. And I hate that we do that to our children. And I think that's all I have to say about Sharkboy and Lava Girl.
Yeah, we really underestimate how smart kids can be when it comes to this shit. Like, there's a reason why
Absolutely.
all the good shit gets remembered and shit like Sharkboy and Lava Girl gets forgotten about.
Seriously, it's remembered for all the wrong reasons.
I will say that this movie is hilarious. I probably wouldn't
It
sit
is
through it
hilarious.
again because it's pretty boring. You can just watch the funny shit online.
Yeah,
But as a meme, it has brought us so many great memes.
absolutely.
Oh my
Um,
god. He ruined my dream journal.
I
I
did not.
did not.
Mr. Electric, send him to the principal's office and have him expelled.
Oh my god, my favorite
Oh,
scene in any movie.
I have a funny story.
Go ahead.
So today I had a an appointment with a doctor on telehealth, so it was like a Zoom appointment.
Uh-huh. Show me your testicles.
They checked my pulse on Zoom. Not that kind of appointment. But it was the first time I was meeting this doctor. And you know my Garfield stuffed animal, the one that kind of looks like a crackhead?
Yeah.
I had to like slowly remove it because I realized it was like peeking out from behind my back on the camera. And you could just see his creepy little eyes.
Oh my god, that's incredible.
Oh, it was wonderful. Okay, so Chase had an idea for another segment of the podcast
Uh-oh, I completely
because
forgot.
he's showing me how to play Wind Waker.
Oh yeah. I forgot about that.
Would you like to explain?
Yeah, so basically, Micah doesn't play that many video games. Like
Nope.
you've played Kingdom Hearts.
I still haven't finished it.
And yeah, you still haven't you're still playing the first one, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so you played that one and you also played wait, what is the game? How's it pronounced? I know what game it is, but how's it pronounced? The rolling game?
Katamari. Katamari.
Yeah. So basically, I've decided that I wanted to have like a small section of the podcast where, similar to how we make each other watch movies, I'm basically gonna make Micah play video games, and currently she's playing The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker. So, how's it going, Micah?
It's actually going really good. I was gonna play a little bit after I finished doing some cutouts for my animation project. I was gonna play some more Wind Waker. I beat the Foreskin Forest without
The
a
Forsaken
walkthrough.
Forest.
Or it's a Forsaken Fortress, but
Yeah, she calls it the Foreskin Fortress. Honestly, though, the fact that you did it without a walkthrough, like even like like anybody who's watching this who has played Wind Waker will probably be like, "Wow."
look at me, I'm so smart. I'll just say that a lot of the times that I've been introduced to video games, it has never ended up good because I have the attention span of a goldfish. So when people introduce me to games like that include a lot of focus and it's a lot of like free range, like sort of adventure games, they get kind of upset with me because I start doing things, excuse me, I apologize, Life 360. I start doing things that don't pertain to the story really,
Yeah.
but they want me to get through the story so quickly that I'm forced to just sort of like do everything their way and I end up hating it.
Yeah, so that's why I've kind of just like been very hands off with how she decides to play Wind Waker. I'm the one who picked because she wanted to play Zelda, so I picked Wind Waker because I think of all the Zelda games, Wind Waker is probably the best one to start with. It's not my favorite, but it's easily the best one to start with because it's pretty easy and it's very easy to understand, and you get kind of an idea of what the rest of the series is about.
Absolutely. Me and Chase are the funniest Let's Players ever, though.
Yeah,
So,
seriously, we might start streaming because I'm gonna we're gonna because any if you actually watch my channel, you know I've been making Zelda videos, so I'm going to need to do more things where I gather footage. So I might end up just streaming it.
oh gosh, I just think that
Yeah,
I just think I'm hilarious.
I just finished getting all my footage for Ocarina of Time for my video on Ocarina of Time. So next is Majora's Mask. So we might stream Majora's Mask.
Ooh,
We'll see. I love Majora's Mask. Majora's Mask is my favorite Zelda game.
you know what my favorite Zelda game is?
The Wand of Gamelon, the
Ben
fucking
Drowned.
CDI game. That's also Majora's Mask.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I forgot. I was a creepypasta phase kid.
Oh yeah, I totally was too. That's what got me interested in Majora's Mask in the first place. Was Ben Drowned.
Um, Creepypasta wasn't my first introduction to horror movies or like horror as a genre, but definitely wrote some fan fiction in my days.
Honestly though, when you beat Wind Waker, I really want you to play Majora's Mask. I feel like you'll love it. It's super depressing and super dark and super creepy.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I can do that. Um, I'm really enjoying I'm really enjoying how adorable Wind Waker is though.
Yeah, love the
So
art
cute.
style.
It's so cute. I named my character Fucker in all caps, so they all just sound really mad at me.
Yeah, nice going, fucker.
Oh, it's great. It's absolutely so great. Um, I actually have made a hefty donation to the ChacePlayz channel.
Mm. Oh
Um,
yeah.
I grew up a lot around video games, so I'm not completely dumb to them. Like I'm not completely ignorant to them. So I own a PS2, and that has been my console forever. So I have a lot of licensed PS2 games. I I gave Chase, let me look because I still have the bag of stuff here.
I could have
Shadow
forgot it.
Showdown. Yeah, he forgot it. Shadow Showdown. I gave him, I'll close it. With Shadow Showdown, I gave him my copy of Series of Unfortunate Events, which he has to return, as
Yeah.
well as my copy of the Coraline game, which he has to return. I also
Yeah.
gave him Simpsons Road Rage.
Very excited. That'll all be in the PS2 license games video because that is going to be a series. I just released my
Absolutely.
last video was my GameCube license games, and I really liked that
And
video, so we're keeping it going.
and all I asked was that I wanted to help with the Series of Unfortunate Events game because Series of Unfortunate Events is my favorite children's, like anything of children's media ever. And it's a shitty game.
Oh yeah, I'm so excited. Yeah, Micah's gonna do that whole section.
Yes.
I'm so excited.
And you'll just provide some gameplay footage.
Yeah, I'll record all the gameplay and then you can do the voiceover and you can write your own section.
Absolutely, because I love Series of Unfortunate Events, but that game literally makes me want to rip all of my hair out.
Aren't you making a video about a series of unfortunate events?
Yeah, I'm making a video essay.
How's that going?
I mean, it's like 4 pages long, and I'm still going, but uh,
Uh, Still not finished with my Ocarina of Time script, and that is 6 pages long at the moment, and it's still not done.
yeah, my thing is 4 pages long right now, and 2 of the pages are just because I was like, I kind of have to go through all the books,
Yeah,
like not in extreme detail, but like I have to describe them all.
yeah.
I also have the Beatrice letters and the unauthorized biography of Lemony Snicket,
Which is
which
super
is
cool.
it's amazing. It has all the letters to Lemony Snicket to Beatrice, and it has all the letters from like all the other characters, like Monty and oh my God, there's this one. I have to talk about this when I get the Beatrice letters out. So there is the most adorable, sad like page in this book, or pages in this book. I won't read them all, but it made me cry when I read it. Um, so basically, Lemony Snicket had asked Beatrice, spoiler alert, Beatrice Baudelaire to marry him, and she said no. And there are so many pages. There's about, let me see, 2.5 pages, 3.5 pages of like, you know how Lemony Snicket kind of like repeats things over and over again.
Yeah,
So here's a little snippet of it. Basically, Beatrice asked a bunch of questions, and one of them is, how long, like you kind of infer, one of the questions is, how long will you love me?
yeah.
Um, his answer was always, continuously, with increasing apprehension and decreasing hope. I will love you with no regard to the actions of our enemies or the jealousies of actors. I will love you with no regard to the outrage of certain parents or the boredom of certain friends. I will love you no matter what is served in the world's cafeterias or what game is played at each and every recess. I will love you no matter how many fire drills we are all forced to endure and no matter what is drawn upon the blackboard in blurry, boring chalk. This goes on for so long.
That's just what Lemony Snicket is like when with the writing.
It's just beautiful, and it's just I will love you as a thief loves a gallery, and as a crow loves a murder, as a cloud loves bats, and as a rage loves brays. I will love you as misfortune loves orphans, as fire loves innocence, and justice loves to sit and watch while everything goes wrong. It's like such like a melancholy love, and it's so sad, and it's beautiful.
So Here's Unfortunate Events was like one of the few like series that I actually like read because I'm not a book person at all. I have a very hard.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't like books; it's that I have a very hard time reading books because my attention span is very short, and I have like the tendency to like skip like entire paragraphs because I'm like getting bored, and I can't help it. It makes it very hard for me to read books. But one of the few series I've actually read is that one. I read almost all of them. I think I stopped in the middle of the second to the last one. I've never read the last one.
Yeah. Oh, it's great. The series of unfortunate events is such a. I love it because it doesn't dumb down like
Yeah.
things for children. Like it really does make them feel like they're a part of something.
So I remember like watching the series. I think I watched the first 3 episodes that covered the first 3 books. I was like, yeah, this is pretty true to the books. This is
Yeah,
what I
it's great.
remember. The only like interesting addition was like the narrator who was just who was just like pops up for no reason.
Yeah. No, no, I love the book. I think my favorite line of the entire like series, like in like the show, was Violet said something about like her mother, and like Count Olaf was like, "Oh yes, your mother, remarkable woman, flammable." Like fuck you.
It's hilarious.
Oh, I just
Flammable, huh?
seriously. Oh, it's great. It's awesome.
I never saw the movie. Is
Uh,
it good? Jim Carrey plays Count Olaf, doesn't he?
yeah. It's
does that just cover the first book?
covers the first three:
Oh, really?
Wide Window, Reptile Room, and Bad Beginning.
So, does it end on a cliffhanger?
It ends with them finding the passageway from one place back to their home, and then that's where it ends.
Interesting.
It really was a stupid ending. I was like, there's so many books. There's 13 books. Why did you just end it and then not make another movie?
I did it do well?
Sure, it did okay, but it definitely wasn't like a movie that everybody was like kind of like so happy over.
Did it like make back its budget?
Let me see. A series of unfortunate events, Jim Carrey, budget. Let's see. Jim Carrey, budget. All right. Okay, their budget was 125 million and their box office was 211.5 million. So they made it back, kind of.
Yeah, I
Oh
guess it
my
just like wasn't
god.
like series of unfortunate events. Just like wasn't well known enough for everybody to just be like they're making a movie. Like it's not Harry Potter.
Actually, it wasn't well known enough, and it also, I don't think it was fleshed out enough yet.
Was the movie out before the series was finished?
It came out. Sorry, excuse me, I've gotten no sleep.
Yeah, I
Um,
didn't either.
Events movie. It was made in 2004, and I don't think the series ended until 2006.
So it was made before the series was over.
Yeah,
That's never usually a good sign.
no, not at all. Let me see. Let me see. It was made, the last book came out in 2006, and the movie was made, what did I say, 2004?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, so it definitely, let me check at the date. Check at the date. Let me check at the date. It was made, yeah, it was made in 2004, so 2 years before the movies ended.
That's never really a good thing. You should pretty much know where your story is gonna go.
Yeah, definitely. Like, you don't know how, like, things that you implied in the movie are gonna change when the rest of the books come out.
Like we already seen like what happens when you don't. You like last Airbender movie was made before when the third season was just beginning.
So stupid, so stupid.
Wait for the whole thing to come out. God damn it!
Yeah. All right, guys, CVS just called. I have my prescription for 3,000 milligrams of Viagra that I need to go pick up.
Of
Just
course, got
kidding.
to get that dick ready.
No, I'm just kidding. CVS just called and told me that I have 4,000 milligrams of Viagra.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
you gotta keep them guessing.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I do have to go, so
Okay,
we may have to wrap this up.
I think that's good anyway because I'm starting to sweat my balls off in here because I don't have the fan on.
All right.
Okay, so we're gonna start to wrap this up.
That's been Uncultured Swines, everybody. Chase's balls have left the building, and so far, I may have to as well.
Yeah, of course. Thank you everybody so much for watching.
We don't know what we're going to watch next week, so maybe at the end, Chase will insert a little picture that just says, "This is what we're watching," or maybe he'll put in a video of himself when he was, I don't know, 11, doing the best ventriloquism you've ever seen in your whole life,
or my movie reviews that I used to
or your
make.
movie. Maybe he'll show you the toilet.
Oh my god. Real quick, I'm gonna add this at the very end. My one of the only funny parts from my old videos.
All right, with that, I've been the piss on Chase's head,
And I have been the toilet.
and we'll see you next time for our next episode of Uncultured Swines.
Thank you everybody so much for watching. We'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.